Good evening, everyone. It's a Sunday evening, and I'm just coming on here to discuss some of the latest news that we have centered around our domestic politics and our foreign politics going on as well right now within this Trump administration. Starting first and foremost with the government shutdown, because yes, we are in fact in another government shutdown once again, the second one of this Trump administration now over this weekend. And I'll tell you why that's happening, what's going on, what the Republicans are doing, and what the Democrats are also doing as well. And I'll discuss how this will play out in the future. Then I'm also going to dive into this Iran conflict, these tensions that are going on right now, Trump making serious military moves over in the eastern part of the world when it comes to Iran, Ali Khamenei, the Ayatollah of Iran, making some serious threats as well, and everything around the region seemingly heating up when it comes to tensions. And so that's what's going to be on the horizon here. I'm also going to add in some insight at the end of both of those. Point to something that I think should be obvious to everybody at this point in time when it comes to the future of our American politics. How has your day been? Hey, Squid Man. Nice to see you back. My day's been going okay, Squid Man. Hopefully yours has been too. So, when it comes to the partial government shutdown, this was actually initiated on Saturday morning. It began Saturday morning because on Friday night, after making some serious concessions, the Republicans making serious concessions to get this bill passed, moved it up to Senate. The Senate passed the bill, the amended bill, and they did so on Friday night before the House, or I should say, sorry, while the House was dispersed. The House is not assembled right now. And so Mike Johnson's been on the news now this past weekend discussing how we are in a government shutdown, but it's only because the House isn't assembled right now to be able to pass the bill, and he won't be able to rally them all together until likely Tuesday, according to him, in order to put the finishing touches, finalize the bill, and pass it. Mike Johnson insists also that he is very confident that despite the fact that they have an ever-slimming Republican majority, that he will be able to pass this bill finally and get government funded to avoid a long-term shutdown like we witnessed last year. Nevertheless, this is the second government shutdown we are now living through under the Trump administration, and Republicans have made major concessions, especially this time when it comes to the bill. Originally, and this is why I've been so critical of this Trump administration, because we should not be negotiating with the Democrats. Originally, what's been going on here was that the Republicans were supposed to be passing this bill. DHS and ICE were going to be funded along with our national defense, everything. Of course, it's all government institutes, basically. And the Republicans have already made concessions at the House level, with the Senate now pushing it through, of course, and it's pending House approval to be finalized, but they've made concessions already, and I just can't for the life of me understand why that's happening. We have control right now, and the Republicans, once again, are failing ultimately to wield the power that they have. So they've conceded now to split DHS and ICE funding from the main package, from the main bill, in order to get Democrats, led by Chuck Schumer, to agree to fund the rest, like our national defense. Really important stuff. Nevertheless, hang on, view message. See, that one's going to be hidden. I don't know why, though. I'll show it. I'm a free speech absolutist, so go ahead, leave your comments. YouTube's going to hide it, but that's not me. Anyways, that's what's been happening. These concessions have been insane, and in all honesty, there's no need for it. What we really should be witnessing from these Republicans right now, and I see viewers are starting to come in, please be sure to like the stream, especially if this is your second or third time viewing. It truly helps the stream perform well in the algorithm, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to American Advocates for more. What we really should be doing, though, with these Republicans in Congress, the filibuster should have been nuked. It should have been nuked during the first government shutdown. These Republicans, they can't find their balls. They don't seem to have any guts. They're cowards, and they seem to want to just die by their principles, their virtues. And it's honestly a disgrace. This should be as simple as the Democrats whining and crying like the baby back bitches that they are. Chuck Schumer going, well, we don't like ICE. We don't like mass deportation. Something has to change. We're going to shut down the government if you don't change it. Republicans should go, oh yeah, bitch, guess what? Nuking the filibuster, fuck you, doesn't matter, we're moving on anyway. That's what should be happening right now, and it's not going to, and instead, it looks incredibly weak as always, but that's the Republicans for you, negotiating with a minority party, the Democrats. They control virtually nothing in this country, yet somehow that somehow, and I've said this before, and it pisses off Republicans. I'm jealous of Democrats. They play the game so well, and they play to win, and they wield power phenomenally, and that's what they're doing. And so they're making all these threats that really shouldn't even exist if Republicans had the balls to do what was necessary. But because they don't, Democrats smell the blood in the water, and they say, you're going to split out that DHS ICE bill. It's only going to be funded for 2 weeks while we renegotiate terms. Then we'll agree to the rest. And Speaker Mike Johnson, the ballless Speaker of the House, goes, yes, sir, Mr. Schumer. Absolutely, Mr. Schumer. And you know what? You're right, Mr. Schumer. ICE does need some radical change. We actually agree with that, Mr. Schumer. Absolutely. So that's what's happening right now. And it really does defeat all of the purpose of what Trump was doing up in Minnesota, which was also, by the way, tactically retreating, according to many Republicans full of cope. According to a lot of Republicans, what Trump was doing up in Minnesota by pulling out Greg Bovino and sending him back home to California, where the man will likely retire. He's one of the best guys in the Trump administration, actually takes the job seriously. And because of that, like anybody else who takes their job too seriously in this administration, he's gone now. It's over. We got to get Greg Bovino out of there, get him out of Minnesota. He's upsetting too many liberals. He's rattling the cages too much. This is a midterm election year. We got to be political now. That's how it's going to play out the rest of this year. It's going to be a tough year for Republicans and MAGA supporters and Trump fans, because you're going to watch your favorite president capitulate left and right to the Democrats and soften his stance on everything to give the Republicans the best chance to win the midterms, which of course they very likely won't. They're doing their best to redistrict. I hope it happens, but they're doing their best to redistrict. Some of their own states are refusing to follow suit on that. And even with them redistricting, they're making some of the least popular moves that I've seen them make. This administration has not been powerful and has not been making power plays since last May. That's when it all started falling apart. We got 4.5 solid months out of this administration before Trump decided, you know what, we can't be doing any of this stuff anymore. We got to take it easy on the farmers. I told them, ease up on the illegal immigrants. They're not committing crimes. They're picking our crops. They're good people. They're real good people. They just need a place to live. Absolutely not. I voted for mass deportations. And we're not going to get that. We weren't getting it even for most of last year, let alone at all this year. And Trump was making major capitulations to Tim Walz, governor of Minnesota, Jacob Frey, mayor of Minneapolis, pulling out Greg Bovino, agreeing to withdraw more and more of the ICE and Border Patrol agent forces out of the state. Also that he can have access to these state prisons, which truthfully, in all honesty, I've said this before and it's not popular with people, Democrats especially, who are giant pussies. We should just go in and kick down the door to those prisons and round up the illegal immigrants that are being hidden in there basically by corrupt state governments. Immigration is a federal law. Therefore, there's no way to violate it without violating the law. So states' rights are inconsequential at that point. They are using the prisons and their sanctuary city status to hide and protect illegal immigrants. The fact that illegal immigrants are in prison defeats also the narrative that they have low crime rates. And now we can't even have access to the prisons. So Trump says, okay, fine, Mr. Tim Walz, fine, Mr. Governor, I'll surrender. We'll pull out more of our ICE agents from your state. We'll withdraw Border Patrol from your state more. This is a rumor, this report, but from Nick Sortor, who's pretty reliable. If our Border Patrol agents there read a license plate and it comes back that they might be illegal, so long as they haven't committed a crime, we'll just let them go, Mr. Governor Tim Walz. No problem. Please just let us have access to your prisons, because I'm too cucked as the fucking executive of this country. I'm too cucked to just do what is necessary and take them by force like I should be, because you're a corrupt piece of shit governor who's hiding illegal immigrants and you're a traitor to your own country. That's what should be happening. That should be the narrative here, and it isn't. And Trump did all of this, even agreeing, by the way, at Tim Walz's request to end his campaign of retribution on Tim Walz, because we all know at the best case scenario for Tim Walz right now, the reason why he's being sent to early retirement, he's not going to rerun again, all of the Somali fraud, the best case scenario is Tim Walz is actually as retarded as we all thought he was and genuinely had no clue that Somalis were ripping off billions of dollars from that state and sending it back to Somaliland. That's the best case scenario for him. The worst case scenario is he's a treasonous fucking traitor filth. and he deserves the worst consequences for that, the kind that he would have gotten 200 years ago in this country, and he's not going to get it, but that's the worst case scenario, was that he's complicit in it and possibly even profited off of that himself. And so there should be no negotiations with these kinds of people. Yet here we are watching the most powerful figure in the United States and in the world, for that matter, surrender to minor party Democrats and low-level ranking Democrats. It's a disgrace, if you ask me. It's not what I voted for, certainly. And now I'm going to get even less of what I voted for. And it's all been defeated. This was all, according to Republicans, Trump playing 4D chess to avoid a government shutdown so that we could then convince them to fund the DHS and ICE bill, where we can now hire more ICE agents and ramp up deportations. Well, guess what? It's not working. And it was never going to work. The Democrats are the ones that play the political 4D chess in this country. And there was absolutely no strategic reason for them to not shut down the government and not give the Republicans a hard time. It galvanizes their voter base when they do. It preaches to their voter base that they're standing up to the evil orange fascist man. And it also blocks funding to ICE, which is ultimately carrying out the will of the people, and that will of the people is mass deportations. This is against the Democrat agenda. They want this country to remain as full of illegal immigrants as possible for the upcoming census count, and in the future to become Democrat voters. Give them all welfare. Give them all welfare. Let them know it's coming from Democrats. They'll vote Democrat then. They'll have kids at a faster rate than white people here, because white people are all retarded feminists now. They're so fucking pathetic. And so that was the plan. And so that's why they hate ICE. And now the moderate Democrat position is reshifting back to abolishing ICE altogether. All because Trump didn't have the balls to do what is necessary. He completely is surrendering. All because of a midterm election season. And it's all being defeated. All of the narrative of Trump playing 4D chess, all of it's being defeated. And by the way, Tim Walz and Jacob Frey, they rescinded on the deal. They agreed to the term of letting Trump in to the state prisons. Now they've decided, you know what? No, that's not right. So never mind. So now, not only is Trump not getting access to the state prisons in Minnesota, according to the last of my knowledge on this, but on top of that, now the government is shut down at least until Tuesday. And that's if you believe Speaker Mike Johnson, who has not been competent at all. That's if you believe him when he says, I'll rally together the slim Republican majority that we still have and get them all on the same page to vote, regardless of how Democrats vote, to vote in favor of funding government. And that's also, even if he pulls that off on Tuesday, that will only include funding DHS and ICE for 2 weeks. They had to already compromise there at the congressional level with Democrats, because otherwise they would have shut down the government entirely. And so that's where we're at with all of this. And it's just truly a disgrace. There should be no negotiations going on whatsoever. Right? Like I said, nuke the filibuster, kick the prison doors down in these states that are sanctuary cities hiding illegals, round them all up and send them right to fucking Alligator Alcatraz. But we're not going to get that. And there's a big problem here. I'm going to highlight it at the end of this stream. There's a big problem here going on in our political world. There's many big problems, but there's one I want to discuss today. It's a topic that's been on my mind for a little bit now. And the more I listen to people like Mike Johnson and even President Trump himself, sadly, the more I understand how big this problem is. But I'll pause it right there. I'll take a look at some chats here. I know it's flying off the walls. By the way, please be sure to like the stream right now. It truly helps the stream perform well in the algorithm. Subscribe to American Advocates if you haven't already. I pretty much go live every day now. I've been going live for about a week and a half, and I love it. So it's important to get this kind of messaging out here, too, because a lot of Republicans, I'm a socially conservative and fiscally conservative man, and I did vote for Trump, and I'll say it obligatorily, he's better than Kamala would have been. But we deserve the best in this country. This is America first. We deserve to get what we vote for. We don't deserve the lesser of two evils. We deserve great candidates. And we deserve we need people rather, who are going to speak out and speak the truth. And I don't see that a lot on YouTube here. I just see a lot of people who are cheerleaders for this administration, and they shouldn't be. Not most of the time right now, especially. All right. I'll take a look. Let's start with the best chat. Your message is lies, says cancerous Libra. Oh yeah. Well, sorry, cancerous Libra. You know, with the name like that, I guess I'll just tell you I'm a Sagittarius. I don't believe on sitting on the fence. I don't believe in sunshine, butterflies, and rainbows. I actually take a stance on stuff because I have balls. Okay. So sorry that you can't handle the message. Maybe you should go watch some pretty boy like David Pakman who's going to lie to you and comfort you, okay? Or Brian Krasenstein. He's got that gay little lisp. That's probably more your speed. Trump approval minus 17. Yeah, and there's a lot of reasons for that. He's kind of deserving the results he's getting here. US ain't attacking Iran. Well, nah, I don't see it. Yeah, I'm going to discuss Iran. That's going to be the second part of this episode. And these are important things to discuss. I'll get to that in a minute. Trump is beyond Jesus. Okay. House of Wander. Okay. The Democrats murdered Charlie Kirk. No point in talking to those people. I agree, Squidman. Overall, there's no unity with the Democrats anymore. Okay. I think that should be very obvious to most people. Not to mention, we got to see what Democrat unity looked like in this country, and it was during COVID. And it was 6 feet apart, don't talk to anybody, wear 2 masks, take every experimental vaccine we send your way, don't ask questions. If you don't do all of that, you're a disgusting, evil person, and hopefully it stays like this forever. This is the new normal, right? Let's never forget that. And that was all led by Democrats. Of course, Trump did approve the vaccine, and that sucks, and he shouldn't have done that either. It was a 3-year experimental jab, and, then all of a sudden you see like 25-year-olds dying on basketball courts. You see 16, big problems. And now, of course, all of the people who don't research this stuff, because they don't want to know, truthfully, is what it is. But all of this is being put out there now. Even back then, we kind of knew. There was always the joke that in 15, 20 years from now, you're going to see commercials. If you took the COVID-19 2022 jab, and now you have health-related issues, you may be liable. You may be eligible for a lawsuit, a class action lawsuit. Those are coming. And if all you got to do is read the latest health articles on that, because it turns out us purebloods, us holdouts who didn't wear face diapers and didn't take any of that shit, turned out to be probably correct. And at the very least, even if we aren't correct, I'm glad I didn't get it, because guess what? I'm still alive. It's a miracle. I'm still alive. But that's what their unity looks like, and we don't want that shit. Their unity looks like that. Their unity looks like encouraging your children to be the opposite gender of what they were born as. Their unity looks like encouraging your kid to chop their genitalia off as soon as they turn 18 and start taking reverse hormone pills, hormone blockers, pump your boys full of estrogen. It's all fucking bullshit. It's all bullshit. So no, we don't want unity with them. There is no unity with such a perverse retrobate party. And anybody who identifies as a liberal nowadays, if you're still a liberal, then that says a lot about you. Vance and Rubio 2028. We'll see. I'm not sold on Vance. Who is Vance? That's the real question we should be asking. Who is JD Vance? Who is he? Nobody knows. Jesus is king. Absolutely. Amen. And I like that you said that after that idiot said, Hail Satan. We're not Satanists here. I'll leave that comment because I'm a free speech absolutist, but you got some major problems. How's capitalism working for you? What country are you from, Ryan H? Capitalism will always be the most ideal. Crony capitalism sucks. We need major reform when it comes to our economy and the way capitalism is currently being carried out, mainly because a lot of it's not capitalism. We shouldn't be bailing out banks. We need a housing market reform. We need to remove a lot of Clinton-era practices, a lot of Obama-era practices. We probably should just scrap Social Security altogether. It's very socialist. It's a disgusting program, in all honesty. Learn to live on your own. Learn to survive on your own. These things defeat the purpose of true capitalism. It's supposed to be a free market society, and it's not. That's the real problem. The real problem is not capitalism. The real problem is idiots who think we need to introduce little blends of socialism here and there to improve it. We never needed that, and we don't, and the fact that we've added it is what's ruining everything. What's the stance on January 6th? I just don't care about it at all. I think it's just virtue signaling to care about it. Like, what's your stance on BLM? There's so many liberal alternatives to that, so many liberal equivalents. Like, you can be mad about J6, I can be mad about BLM, I can be mad about what happened in Los Angeles this summer with a bunch of Latinos parading around in our streets, creating an insurrection, waving their stupid fucking Mexican flag in the streets in our country, So, be mad, stay mad, I don't care. Jesus is God. Amen. Christ is Lord. The sad part is we would have had a great president in Charlie Kirk. Yeah, maybe. I don't know about that, but it's sad that he's gone. Candace Owens and Stu Peters is the truth. Candace Owens is not the truth. Candace Owens is deranged. I don't know who Stu Peters is, but Candace Owens is a bit deranged. Be very careful with her. She's literally out of her mind. she's completely out of her mind. Wow, this chat is sad. All right, let me speed up to these comments here. I'll read a few more chats. We're going to move on to Iran. We got to talk about Iran. Things are heating up there. Bankrupted a casino. Yeah, he did. Trump did bankrupt a casino. There's no way around that. It's pretty funny. The Mexico garbage flag. Yeah, tell me about it. Your flag is stupid, says M. Salga. M. Salga 30. There's no way you're an American with that name, so opinion disregarded. Our flag is the most beautiful flag. I say the pledge to it every single morning. Thank Daddy Trump when your taxes go up. Taxes are not going up this year. My taxes actually are going to be going down a lot this year. We must do something to help the people of Iran. No, I disagree. And I'm going to tell, actually, I'll lead right into Iran right now, actually using that chat to do so. So, not only is the government shut down right now, not only are we watching domestically the Republicans completely fold and capitulate to Republicans completely fold and capitulate to Democrats. This Trump administration, toothless, no justice from the DOJ, none of it. But now we're dealing with Iran. And then after I discuss what's going on in Iran, that's going to lead me to the main point of why I'm going live tonight, to discuss one of the major problems in our current American political landscape. Iran tensions are heating up. Trump's already moved the USS Abraham Lincoln into the Persian Gulf. We have an entire armada there now. We got all these we have 35,000 troops on standby. Probably the worst thing that Trump could decide to do, and I swear to God, I hope I do not see this. Troop deployment, boots on the ground in Iran would probably, in my opinion, finalize any decision I'm trying to make here on whether or not I'll even vote Republican in the midterms. Because yes, I'm seriously considering not voting Republican at all. Not voting for Democrats either, mind you. That's like voting for Satan. But I won't be voting this year, very likely. I'll just throw the Republicans to the wolves. I'll do my part to make sure that they do lose. They need to suffer consequences for not living up to their promises. And if 35,000 troops, boots on the ground, go into Iran and we start a war in the Middle East again, that might finalize it for me. And you know, I'm a young millennial. I'm on the youngest end of the millennial spectrum here. I'm very on the line with Gen Z. And I have a lot more Gen Z tendencies because of that, I think. And one of those tendencies is no new wars, no Middle East entanglements, Middle East fatigue. I grew up watching the news all of the time in the 2000s, and that's all you ever heard. All you ever heard was just more Middle Eastern affairs. And then you get older and you read about this stuff, and you read about how much of a sham the Iraq war was and the false pretenses that led us there. And it's like some of that, not all of it. There's definitely more of a threat to Iran, in my opinion, than there was ever in Iraq. But I read about the intel we're getting, and I read about the narrative being crafted in Iran, and I do wonder. I go, it halfway feels like another Iraq war setup to me. It just does. And I'm not in favor of it. And I'm a big Monroe Doctrine guy. I said this a few episodes ago here. Be sure to subscribe, by the way, so you're always tuning into episodes. Turn on notifications, give the stream a like. I said this a couple episodes ago. I said, ever since about August, September, the Trump admin was going like this, and I just started becoming more critical. Then we get a little bounce in December and January because we do the Venezuela stuff. Trump brings back the Monroe Doctrine. I love the Monroe Doctrine. I love it. He talks about taking Greenland, focusing on the West. We have our main navy right outside Venezuela. We're ridding our Western Hemisphere of the Chinese presence, which, by the way, I was one of the first mofos out here to discuss what was actually happening in Venezuela. All these other retards out here, especially liberals, he's blowing up poor fishermen. They have 3 outward motors on their boats, $75,000 a piece. They're fishermen, though. He's blowing them up. It's like nobody understood. I literally did the research. I instantly knew China was creating telecom infrastructure in Venezuela. They were creating seaports, and they were using Venezuela as a proxy point to wage any future wars on us and spy on us. ridding them of Chinese presence and getting Venezuelan oil was a huge win. I loved it. Then the discussion of Greenland was on the horizon. So a little bit of a bump again. And now, boom, we're just back down and we're hitting rock bottom, flatlining with a government shutdown, complete capitulation in Minnesota, backing off the mass deportations, only the worst of the worst. That's the Trump administration excuse now. And now Iran. Ali Khamenei threatening now regional war this time, saying, it won't be like last year, Mr. President. If you strike Iran, this time we'll unleash everything we have and we will start a regional war. We'll attack Israel. We'll attack, they're going to send rockets everywhere. And so we have our armada. Iran, I don't think, has the military to defeat us. But the problem is we should have learned by now what a war in the Middle East actually means. It's fruitless. It's endless. It's actually biblically guaranteed if you're a Christian like I am and you actually read your Bible. That place will not have peace until Christ's return, pretty much. So we're still there meddling with this stuff. I know they tried the Abrahamic Accords and all this nonsense, but it was never going to work. And that's why I love the Monroe Doctrine so much. We really do need to, and I'm not an isolationist either, but we need to focus on our Western Hemisphere and most importantly, domestically. We have homeless veterans. We have Gen Zers who literally are doomers at this point. They literally think I'll never, and I feel so sorry for them. I love the Gen Z generation. I truly do. And I love my millennial generation. We took a lot of shit. Both generations have taken so much shit from boomers, who lived it up selfishly, and they depleted our government and our economy of everything. They bought their homes cheap. They drag raced on our economy, and they're leaving us nothing. We need to get that back. It would be one thing to be doing this if everybody was living well, but young generations are not living well, and it's a big problem. Combine that with the fact that we get no justice in this country. It's like, what are we fucking doing over here? So, Ali Khamenei threatening regional war. We got the troops ready now, 35,000 of them. It could be possibly one of the worst decisions Trump makes, and he's made a few bad ones. If he sends the troops in and, goes after Iran, it's all conflicting with the messaging that we had from Trump last year. He assured us the B-2 bombing run, total annihilation, he said, when it came to Fordo, when it came to their nuclear bases. He assured us. And then the intel reports started coming in, and Pete Hegseth doubled down on what Trump was saying, but people were saying, no, the intel reports say that there's a chance they still have nuclear capabilities. But the real problem here is, and I hate to do this because I am not a Middle East sympathizer. I'm not an Islam sympathizer at all. But you got to look at it from the lens of a powerful country like Iran. What is being asked of them? What is the Trump administration telling Iran they need to do? Essentially, he's telling Iran, de-arm yourselves. You're a giant country. You're a giant country full of people. You have military power. You're allied with China and Russia. You need to de-arm yourselves. Get rid of everything that you could use to defend yourself in that region, and then we won't strike you. That's very unrealistic. It is. I hate to say that. I don't view Iran as ever an ally or potential ally. They will always be an enemy. But from their standpoint, if you're actually able to look at it from that lens, that is one of the most unrealistic things you can ask of a country. Hey, we have our Navy outside your borders in your Gulf. If you don't de-arm yourself right now, just get rid of your missiles, stop pursuing nuclear power. If you don't do all of that, we will try to obliterate you. We're going to go for regime change again. And we'll put somebody in who goes along with the mission. It's like they don't have anything to lose at that point. So what do we think is going to happen here? And that's really where I'm at with that, with Iran. I have Middle East fatigue. And I know that there was a revolution breaking out there. But, we need to observe the Monroe Doctrine here. I feel for the people of Iran who may feel subjugated there, but at the end of the day, that's their fucking problem. We have a lot going on here in America, and young Americans right now are not doing so well as a whole. We need to focus on that. We should be hearing news about ramped up domestic manufacturing. We should be hearing news about everything going on that's good in this side, on this side of the world, in our country. We should be bombarded with stuff like that, and we just never will be. It just seems like we never will be. We need America First candidates in office, and we don't have hardly any of those. Be sure to like the stream if you're agreeing with what I'm saying. Subscribe right now to American Advocates, and turn on those notifications when you do, the bell icon or whatever, so you can be notified when I go live. I am not by any means done. I want to discuss how this all ties in, this government shutdown, Epstein, even what we've seen with these Epstein files and how the administration handled that, this Iran, the Iran tensions. Now, I'm going to tie all of that in for you into one present, one neatly wrapped present, and say this is one of the problems that we're having with our politicians. It all ties together, and I'll go over that in 1 second. I'll take a look at some more chats before we get there, though. Let me view these show. See, I'm okay with those, but you're a fascist prick. Okay. Let's take a look. What are you guys saying? Ice Ice Baby. A one-hit wonder song right there. And sadly, with this administration, it seems like ICE itself is a one-hit wonder. They got a couple good months in of deporting people, rounding them up, and they're gonna really ease off the throttle there, aren't they? I predict a future war due to the lack of jobs. Someone would want to expand some territory to make jobs. Interesting thought. He does. I am on the McDonald's Wi-Fi right now, Ryan H2691. How did you know? Yo, is the U.S. shut down or is the guy being dramatic? No, the government is shut down right now by technicality. Andre Woyd. The government's technically shut down because the House was able to get the House comp. I'll explain it real fast. I did so at the beginning of the stream. You should have tuned in sooner, but I'll explain it real fast. In short, the House compromised with Democrats and Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. They said, fine, we'll split out DHS and ICE funding. So long as you agree to allow us to fund that for 2 weeks while we rehash everything on that, we'll take that out of the main bill for now, and we'll do everything else to fund government. Chuck Schumer said, okay, that's fine. Those terms are acceptable. Those terms are acceptable, Republican Mike Johnson, who is a leader of the party that has majority power. We're making demands to you. Thanks for listening and agreeing, even though you didn't have to. That's what wound up happening. It moved up to Senate. Senate passed it on Friday night. House is not assembled until very likely Tuesday. So the government is technically like mostly shut down right now, currently. But it should be very short, according to Mike Johnson, who is promising us. MAGA Mike is promising us that the slim Republican majority will all unite together to get this bill passed so government can be funded. So we'll see. But the point in it was they already made compromises with the Democrats, just like the Trump administration did. So that's the whole point. It's like this Republican Party does not know how to wield power at all. And it's pathetic to watch them stoop so low to compromise with disgusting, grimy Democrats who have no real power right now. You cannot stop the MAGA movement. I mean, you know who's stopping it right now? Trump himself. America first, America first, America first, says Hurt Balloon. Amen. No one called you fascist. Somebody did. I unhid the comment. The comments are being hidden. I don't have mods. I don't hide comments, but YouTube automatically does. There's nothing I can do about it. So I try to unhide them if I got time, but if I don't, just cleverly reword the statement you want me to see so it's not hidden. That's my advice to you. America's for Americans. Amen, Squasley. But you are a jobless parasite. Are you talking who? You must be talking about an illegal immigrant of some sort, or Somalian perhaps. Certainly not me. Trump is king. What's your job? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go on the internet and I'm just gonna tell people. Do you want the address too, bro? Can you clean my dipper? Because I'm a cutie tootie. You got a cutie tootie. What the fuck are these comments? What are these chats? What's a 9x8? I don't know. Trump is afraid of stairs. No, that was Biden. Biden was afraid of stairs. Very afraid. And he had a lot of reasons to be. All right, let me scroll up here. He won't read this shit. Yeah, well, I don't cast balls to swine, and a lot of you are honestly swine in these chats. Like, a lot of you are just literally beneath me and not worth answering, so sorry. Do better. Do better in the chat if you want me to actually read what you're saying. Who would you like in 2028? NJed9745. I'm very skeptical of Vance. I don't actually like Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio's doing a great job for Trump. But you got to remember where Rubio's coming from and what he was before this administration. I don't like Rubio. And as of right now, I don't know. I don't see too many good candidates right now. We'll have to see how it all unfolds. I really ideally would like somebody who runs off of I don't know. I'm almost black-pilled, to be honest with you, because it's like they're going to run off of the same kind of promises, and you're just never going to know until they're in. But, I want to see somebody that I can at least feel is genuine about improving America. We don't need to fully isolate from the world, but somebody who runs off the idea of America first for real, no Middle East entanglements right now, stop dealing with Ukraine, lift the sanctions off Russia. I know that one always inflames the chat. But we need to fix this stuff. Try to leave NATO, form a new alliance with countries that actually like us, like Italy, like El Salvador, like Japan. We need Japan. Japan is going to be the new Israel to us when it comes to our upcoming proxy wars with China. Japan is going to be very valuable to us, and they love us. They actually love us, and their current prime minister loves Trump and loves America as well and wants to deal with us, unlike our stupid fucking NATO allies. So I don't know. A lot needs to be fixed, a lot needs to be fixed. And I'd like to see I'll use this to tie into my final point. That leads me into my final point. We got this government shutdown. We've got Iran. We've got a complete Epstein botch. Doge is gone. We need to vote in younger, stronger, more energetic men into our politics. That's what's sorely missing in America. We need to start, and this will never happen, and so I can only advocate for the next best case scenario here, but what we should have is no more politicians over the age of 65. It needs to end. Let's say 70 to be fair, because you get a couple guys out there, they age very well, but we need to end that. We need to end allowing these old people in. There's such a massive disconnect with our politicians and the young people of America. Even with Trump himself, he's telling us we're in a golden age because he's going off of the stock market. How many I know young men are they're always interested in the stock market and learning, but who's really benefiting from the stock market right now? It's the boomers who have worked the same job their entire life and have their whole portfolio wrapped up in it, their 401k, etc. So the housing market, Trump even goes as far as to say that housing prices need to increase. Like, these are boomer takes, and we shouldn't have to deal with this as young people. We should be looking at future presidents who are men aged between the minimum age, which I do agree with. I believe is the minimum age 36 or 38, but no older than 70. That's what we should be dealing with. Maybe even 65, like I said, or maybe even 62 to ensure that if they get 2 terms, they exit by the time they're 70. How about that? Because these old people are so out of touch. For instance, hang on, let me swig some water. There's a Rasmussen poll I found very fascinating. There is a 40-point divide on the subject of Iran, a 40-point divide between the under 40 voters and the over 40 voters when it comes to how to deal with the Middle East, Muslims, Islam, Iran, etc. Guess what the difference is? What do you think the over 40 people want? Over 40 people have already been raised to buy into the take the fight to them. Send in the troops, neoconservatism, get our military over there, squash them in their own country. The under 40 vote is a 40-point divide difference between these categories. Under 40 voters want us to focus on our domestic issues. And I've said this before in prior episodes. When it comes to Iran, where in the fuck is NATO? Where is NATO? They want to talk about how they're our ally. They're dealing with stuff in Europe. They exist in the old world. And NATO was created back in the 1940s. It was only supposed to exist for 10 years while they fixed their society, economy, and built up their military while we defended them. And those sleazy Europeans have milked that out for 77 years. 67 years too long. They still don't have a military that's strong enough to defend themselves because they reallocated all of their funds into creating their perfect little socialist societies that they try to flex in our faces. And of course, it works on liberals here because liberals are so fucking stupid. They don't know why the Europeans have what they have. It's all because of American dollars and American military might. But because of that, they don't have a strong enough military. They're still very much at risk to being conquered over there by a military superpower, perhaps like China or Russia. So where's NATO? Iran is at NATO's backyard pretty much. NATO should be leading the charge on this. We should be turning to NATO and saying, hey, Iran might be a problem there with their nuclear power. You should take care of that. Send your military in, I guess, and take care of that. We'll help fund your aid if you need any aid. But we're gonna take a step back from here. Right, Europeans? You don't like America being the police of the world anymore anyway. So how about NATO takes control of this situation? How about they lead the charge on Iran, and we'll sit back and watch and render some aid if we need to. How about that? We can't do that, though, because they don't have a military. When they sent their soldiers to Greenland to defy President Trump, it was a whopping total of 50 soldiers collectively. And so that's one of my biggest gripes. But my biggest gripe is this age gap. These boomers are so out of touch. And it all goes back to the 40-point age gap between under 40 and over 40 voters on Iran. Also, the Epstein files. I can't tell you how many boomers I've dealt with who tell me straight up, boomer Republicans, I should say, because boomer liberals pretend to care about Epstein because they think it'll implicate Trump, and they're stupid. Boomer Republicans, though, they don't give a shit about Epstein. Not really. And that's just not how it is with young people. We care. Excuse me. We care because young people look at the world and we go, this place is fucking broken. This place is disgusting. We need to burn the system down and start over, is pretty much the viewpoint of most young people. So we care about Epstein, and the boomers don't. And so Trump didn't care really all that much. He threw it around when he was asked on his campaign trail. He never campaigned on it directly, but when he was asked about it, he said, yeah, I guess I'd throw it out there. Even the way he answered that question back then, he didn't really care all that much about it. And then he cared even more when he found out what were in the files, because he's protecting the elites. I just did a whole episode on that yesterday. You should absolutely go check that out, who Jeffrey Epstein really was. I went over tons of the emails there. But so then he does care, but not even for the right reasons. And on top of it, it's not a popular take with young people. Not to mention, we go back to Doge and Elon Musk. Where's that at? Trump was at his most popular still with young people. The liberal media hated this. Back in February, Trump had already been president for a month, and young people still fucking loved Trump way more than what the liberal media was expecting. And it was largely in part because of Doge. In fact, Trump losing the young people, you can see the correlated decline in his popularity with under 40 voters as Elon was pretty much ousted by the Trump administration. And that's what he was. And you can see the decline correlate perfectly with Elon's exit, the friction between Elon and Trump, and Doge. I mean, again, boomers, I guess they care about fraud and corruption, but not enough. To young people, that's the mission. That's the mission. Clean up America from the inside. And Trump was never more popular with young people than when Elon and Doge were there ridding us of fraud. But they didn't get to stay long because apparently too many Republicans are going to be at jeopardy if Elon digs too deep. For us, though, we just have the standpoint of good. You think I'm loyal to the Republicans in the Republican Party? I'm a conservative. I'm not loyal to any one politician in my party. And as far as I'm concerned, if they need to be arrested for fraud, do it. So long as the Democrats are right alongside with them. No more two-tier justice. But that's the disconnect, is the age. We need age limits. I don't want to see crusty old people as my politicians anymore. They don't represent me. They're fucking stupid. They're out of touch. And they don't have what it takes. And you can even see the decline in Trump. The way he's handling this is not the Trump of the 80s. Or maybe it is. Maybe he's always been like this and he's just been a good salesman. That's not far out there either. But, the government shutdown, the way he's handling Minnesota, the way he's handling Tim Walz, Jacob Frey, negotiating with Democrats, when he should just be he should be flooding Minnesota with National Guardsmen. He should be flooding them. He should be showing no mercy, no negotiations. Fulfill the agenda that you were elected to fulfill, Mr. President. You were put here on a mandate to do so. You won the popular vote. And so it's like this with everybody right now, and the Republicans are weak, and all these old people in our current political landscape don't represent us well. That's the bottom line. That's why we need that. We need an age limit. People are already discussing that when it comes to Congress. We need it for everything. I should be seeing men aged 36 to 62 being the primary bracket for people who are in our office and controlling things. That's what we need. That's where we're at. All right, I'll take a look at some chats again. Look how far back my hairline is. I'm an old person. Oh no. I have my hair tied back because it's really long. You are so dogmatic and wrong. Thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. Are you Muslim? No, not at all. I am Russian, well, possibly Russian. Still finding that out, but definitely German and British. All of the best, all of the best you could ask for. German and British and possibly Russian. But that's of course very distant. My parents, my grandparents, and my great-grandparents were all born in America. So above all else, I'm a fucking American. And I actually, because my parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents were born here, I'm actually a Native American. That's really what I am. I'm a Native American. Let ICE operate the way they have in the past, not so aggressive. No, I disagree. Curious Cat 4337. Here's what should happen with ICE. They want to protest against ICE? Insurrection Act. You invoke it immediately. Then you declare martial law in Minnesota. You flood the streets with soldiers. You just send them all in. And I'm talking, you send in 10,000 soldiers, not 1,500. You send in 10,000. And you split them up and you have them go up and down the streets patrolling. You establish a curfew under martial law, and once everybody's inside, you have ICE agents go door to door, protected by soldiers, and then they ask for papers. That's how you do that. And if and when you find illegals, you immediately detain them, you throw them in the back of an SUV, and you send them right to Alligator Alcatraz, where they can sit in a cell for a week. They can get bit by mosquitoes for all I fucking care. They're not here legally. And you have a judge come right up to their cell. No official courtroom procedures, nothing too expensive. Just a judge come right up to the cell. You hold a little mini hearing and you go, can you prove you're a citizen? Where's your papers? You don't have that? Okay, you're not a citizen. Deported. Goodbye. And you send him back to his home country. And if the home country won't take them, it looks like, since they're very obviously comfortable being in a foreign land they don't belong in, looks like we're sending them to Africa. Somewhere in Africa, out you go. You don't belong in America. You're leeching off of our welfare, most likely. You're taking up jobs that Americans should have. You're consuming resources that belong to America, and you don't fucking belong here. That's what should be happening. Trump should be doubling down, is the message here. We have complete control right now, and all we're seeing is capitulation because of midterms. He's worried about midterms. So he can't do stuff like that because he's playing the political game now. So now it's only the worst of the worst. The worst of the worst is an excuse. It's a justification that shouldn't have to be made. But the problem is people view liberals as if they have some sort of moral high ground on us, and they don't. The liberals are scum. We have the high ground. Liberals are some of the most disgusting, vile people you'll ever hope to discuss. They should be begging us for moral approval and acceptance. But it's the other way around with old school Republicans, and that's another boomer problem, by the way. And it's a major Trump problem. He's concerned about the mainstream media and what they say about him. And he's concerned about image. And now he has to play the political game for midterms. But that's what should be happening in this country. That's certainly what I voted for. Mass deportations of illegal immigrants. And we see what happens when you allow all of these immigrants into this country that shouldn't be here. Somali fraud, all of this crime, Mexican insurrection over the summer. It's terrible. We got to get these people out, and it's not going to happen now. That's the tragedy. NJL239 says, I am a conservative also, but I think Trump is doing the best thing right now by letting things cool down in Minnesota. I totally disagree. That's never really a good strategy. It gives off all of the wrong appearances. It allows you're giving an inch at that point, NJL. You're giving the Democrats an inch. They take the mile, and they're doing it now. They're doing it now with a government shutdown that they're threatening over funding of ICE. They won't stop. There is no cooling down with liberals. They will accelerate more. They're trying to create a color revolution here in America, and they're trying to ramp up the tensions. They're encouraging their people to go out into the streets and assault ICE. They're encouraging everything by prohibiting law enforcement, their own state and local law enforcement, from protecting ICE agents. They don't plan on cooling things down. They just say they want it cooled down because that's how Democrat politicians play the game. You got to understand how this works. And you cannot be the one to back down. Whatever the Democrats do, you not only have to match, but you have to multiply by 10x. That's why martial law should be declared already. Curfews established. That's why. My family has been here since the Revolutionary War, so ICE, get the fuck out. Well, then your family would be embarrassed of you. I look Pakistani. Maybe it's because of the facial hair. I don't know. I'm definitely not Pakistani. Iran literally won't do anything. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of faith in Iran. I think Iran, China, and Russia collectively are still paper tigers for the most part, genuinely. I mean, we're dealing with China and Russia having nuclear power, of course, but when it comes to their actual military, I think Iran's pretty pitiful. But still, the point is not that Iran could defeat America. The point is we've already seen how the Middle East wars play out, and they're endless, and they're expensive. The Iraq war cost us $2 trillion, and by the time we're finished paying off the debt we took out, we pay the interest on the debt we took out to keep funding the Iraq war, it'll be $6 trillion. We literally can't afford that right now. If we were to duplicate that scenario, which could easily happen if we go to an all-out war with Iran, which I don't think will happen, but it's why it can't. It's going to get so much worse. We can't do this. We just can't. We can't do it. I've seen people over age 62 who are sharp as can be, and I've seen some under. Yeah, but you're trying. I'm generalizing, okay? And yeah, the thing is, there's probably people. My dad's in his mid 60s, and I mean, he just started up a business not even that long ago, a few years ago. So, and he's still going pretty strong. He's still pretty sharp. But the thing is, it's different for everybody. You got to create a cutoff point at some point. Is basically how it goes. That's really what it is. It's really how it is. So 62 is fair because by the time, let's say a 62-year-old is elected and gets 2 terms as president, he's 70 when he gets out. That's the cutoff. To me, the cutoff point's truly 70, but it needs to be 62 then in my mind because I don't want a president who's 77 by the time he's out of office. That's just too old. And Trump, we're seeing it with Trump. Trump is declining. He doesn't have dementia like Joe did, thank God. But Trump's a little softer. He's a little slower. He's not as fiery as he was in his first term. Biden was atrocious, So it's like, that's got to stop. We see congressmen and congresswomen literally fucking falling asleep in these hearings. Both Democrat and Republican, for that matter. They're too old. Nancy Pelosi, should, I know she's retiring finally, but it's like, Nancy Pelosi should have never been in there for as long as she was. Chuck Schumer's almost too old, pretty much. He's still somewhat sharp, but he shouldn't be there, What's his name? Oh, Mitch McConnell. We're seeing that guy is embarrassing. And he's a rhino. So it's like these problems would be avoided if we just put an age limit on politicians. We can agree on that, says Scruffy 901. Absolutely. Listen, that's a bipartisan issue. You can be here and insult me all you want. You can call me a stupid conservative, whatever a bootlicker for Trump, whatever. That's a bipartisan issue. It truly is, so I appreciate that. I could care less. I want fraud money returned. I agree, Linda Fleming. I agree. We're not going to get that either. But truthfully, what should happen over in Minnesota, we should just start revoking Somali citizenship. And people like Ilhan Omar, for instance, should be heavily investigated right now. We're not going to get that. But Ilhan Omar should be heavily investigated. And if it's proven that she's linked to this fraud, she should have all of her assets seized. And it should all return towards the national debt or maybe be paid out to the people of Minnesota. Divided up equally amongst all of the Minnesota taxpayers. And then you send Ilhan Omar back to Somalia with nothing but the clothing on her back. Like, this is what we need, and that's why we need young people in office. Trump's too nice. He's a sweet, sweet old man. We need somebody who's 36, 40, 45, 50, an edge on them still. A guy, some man, a conservative man with an edge on him to get into office and make these kind of choices. So be sure to like the stream if you agree with that, by the way. Subscribe to American Advocates right now and turn on the bell icon, notifications for when I go live and when I post. Appreciate it. Dude, even listen to what Trump says. He literally is senile and can't get his word. Well, he's slowing down. He's aging. He's slowing down. He's not senile, but he is aging. That's just how it goes. Let's see. Both sides are responsible for everything, but for different reasons, too. Jordan John, 2010. Both sides are responsible, but one side is the violator, and the other side allows it, and that's the Republicans. It's comparable to, being in a car, you're in the back seat, and the driver is whoever's currently been voted in, whichever party. So it's like the Democrats, and you're going down a highway, and at the end of that highway is literally destruction, like a fire pit. And you can see it. And the Democrats, they're going 80 miles an hour towards that son of a bitch. And then you go, oh, shit, so you vote them out, and you put in a Republican. The Republican gets in the car, and you go, finally, We can make a U-turn and get off this stretch of the highway that's leading us to a fire pit of destruction. And the Republican goes, well, no, we are still heading that way, but I'm going to do the speed limit. Don't worry. We'll get there a lot slower. I'm the lesser of two evils. Like that's where we're at right now. That's the real problem as well. It's not just age, but age is one of the factors. And the other factor is, yes, the Republicans are weak-willed, spineless. Some of them are bought and paid for. They're corrupt as well. And they don't represent us. Nobody represents Americans anymore. That's it, in a nutshell. Yup, says Joe Schmo. Thanks for agreeing, man. Be sure to subscribe right now if you haven't already. Not a bad analogy, says Chase Coleman 2274. Yeah, I thought about this. It's just like that's just what it is. They're just comforting us by saying, well, don't worry, we're heading towards destruction, but we'll do 30 miles an hour. The Democrats are doing 80. Don't you see? That's why we're the lesser of two evils. We're getting there a lot slower. Don't you see? It's like, no, I don't see, and I'm not voting for you anymore if that's going to be the case. I won't vote until I see somebody I know or at least have a good inkling of will lead us in the right direction. Make the fucking U-turn. Put America first. It's not much to ask for. It's not unreasonable. Oh, we should just listen to you. You should. That's why you're here. Dude, you're bipolar and a moron. No, that's called charisma and passion, something that you don't have in your meaningless life. Gregoriode. You don't even have a good username either. God, you're just pathetic. Have you ever seen legal Hispanics protesting ICE? No, legal. Listen, and there's got to be a cutoff point for immigration, right? So it's like, I understand that they were coming in legally. I want the border to stay shut down. I want to put a immigration moratorium on this country for the next 20 years. No more immigrants in this country at all whatsoever for 20 years. But the ones that came in legally up until that point, if we can get to a point where we do that, should be allowed to stay. I'm okay with that. We don't just revoke citizenships for no reason. I do, on the other hand, also think, though, that people who came here legally should be on, no pun intended, thin ice. They should be worried about having their citizenship revoked. If they commit a violent crime, for instance, automatic citizenship revoked, deported. Like, they shouldn't be allowed any bad behavior. I mean, it should get to a point where if you're pulled over like 5 or 6 times for reckless speeding even, it's like, revoke their citizenship. If you have to go on government assistance here and you're here and you came here as even a legal citizen and you're on welfare, you're on food stamps, you're on state aid and everything, citizenship revoked. You're clearly not going to make it here, and now you're a detriment to our country. The point of immigration is to allow people into this country that will add value to this country. It's not about what we can do for others. It's about what they can fucking do for us. That being said, there's a lot of respectable Hispanic immigrants that are living in this country, and they came here legally, and they should be allowed to stay. But at some point, we need to do a cutoff and say, that's it. No more immigration for 20 years. We got to fix this shit internally here in America. And I'm not seeing that from Trump. That's not going to happen. So, America's not just for one ethnicity. It's not just for one race. I will say that. America is for Americans. Americans are born here legally, or they immigrated here legally. That's what an American is. You support the party that doesn't want to give you a living wage. I don't need to worry about getting a living wage because I work a job. I own more than one business. And in the next 10 years, I'm going to be so wealthy, I won't even know what to do with the money that I have. I'll be paying people a living wage at that point. I'll be hiring employees. So thank you for that, but I'm actually very capable. The whole point of America, by the way, is for the freedom to break free from what otherwise would be social classes. This is what you experience in a lot of poor countries. You're born poor and you stay poor, or you're born rich and you're always rich. It's not like that here in America. Many people are still born poor here, obviously, but you actually have the best opportunity here possible to get rich. And you just got to know how to do it. You got to know what you're doing. Most people aren't educated on that. Most people aren't logical. Most people are emotional like you, Ryan. They're never going to figure it out. They're self-victimizing. They're pitiful, pathetic, and they're never going to do anything with their lives. First-time viewer. Great. Thanks, says Jordan John. Appreciate that. Thank you. If you like what I'm saying, be sure to subscribe to the channel, Jordan John. Appreciate it. It's a catch-22. I wasn't to see red states and voters get what they voted for, but I also have to live with it. Yeah, I understand. Ron Goldberger says that's a feature of the apparatus, not a bug. If we use our energy on each other, we can't unite and come for them. I don't want unity with liberals. I don't want it. You want unity with a party that believes in abortions and transgenderism and men playing in women's sports and grown ass men using the women's bathroom. Do you really want that? Do you want unity with the party that forced you or tried to force you to take experimental jabs, wear two face diapers on your face, stand 6 feet apart? They called that unity in the new normal. Is that what you want unity with? I certainly don't. You want unity with the party that wants open borders to flood this nation with foreign invaders to replace you over time? I don't want unity with that. I'd vote for you, says Joe Schmo. Thank you. You want what a lot of people want, but don't speak up. Exactly. That's why I'm here, Jordan. That's why I'm here. That's why this channel exists. Somebody's got to say it, and not many people are. I think once you're here legally, you are afforded the exact same rights as any other citizen. Well, maybe. I mean, that is how that works here. History, not historically has that always been the case, though. But, I mean, for the most part, that's pretty much how it works here. But you know what? Welfare, if you're talking about welfare, welfare should be for Americans. And welfare needs to be reformed. Welfare needs to be seriously reformed, much more restricted, and it needs to be for Americans, not for people who come here. If you're coming here, you need to be immediately adding value to this country. And if you're not, you got to go. This guy is hilarious. Thank you, Monty loves you. It's pretty funny what happens when you decide to just tell the truth. That's how sad things are nowadays. You tell the truth, and it's actually funny because of how shocking it is. What do I add to this country? A whole lot. I'm not big enough of a person to have a countrywide effect, though. I'm not an Elon Musk. It's more or less what you add. Start with adding something to your neighborhood, then your town, your city, your state. But we should all be striving for that. Ask not what your country can do for you. Instead, ask what you can do for your country. I'm a Christian nationalist. And that's what nationalism is. America first. Show businesses, prove yeah, that's what I'm here on the internet to do, to expose my private life, you retard. God, what a stupid fucker. Nope, nah. Retard Maxer. HD a hawk. Bro, do you understand that you don't even believe in the Constitution? Like, you're the furthest thing from American possible and tried to call yourself native. I am a Native American. My parents were born here. I was born here to my parents who were born here. My parents were born to grandparents who were born here. And my grandparents were born to great-grandparents who were born here. That makes me a Native American. Do you like pizza rolls, or are you kind of a Hot Pocket guy? I haven't had a Hot Pocket since high school. My buddy and I used to skip class and go in the bathroom, and it was radiant heat, and it wasn't near the toilets, but we wrapped the Hot Pockets up in tinfoil, and then we cooked them on the radiator. Fucking delicious, actually, but that was high school shit. LOL, poor baby. Republicans so tough, but always a victim, says the Democrat. The Democrat who complains if you get misgendered. The Democrat who complains if you're in 2022, if people were wearing a mask under their nose instead of over it. Who's the victim here? Come on. But my 98-year-old grandma died because people like you wouldn't get vaccinated. Your 98 grandma would have died if you sneezed on her twice, you fucking doofus. I'm the victim, though. Guys, stop talking to this millionaire 10 years from now. Millionaire, 13 years is, by my math, probably 1.6 million. It's a business plan. It could take longer. It could happen a lot quicker too. We'll see. Doesn't really matter though. My personal finances are none of your fucking business. Calling for martial law while drinking in his car in the parking lot of a McDonald's. I'm on the McDonald's. I need the McDonald's Wi-Fi, obviously, you fuck. And it's not just water in here, obviously, either. I'm just kidding. It is water. I'm an America First liberal. Bet we have more in common than not, says Ron Goldberger. I don't know. I don't think so. If you're identifying as a liberal, then our morality is just miles apart, honestly. I don't believe in abortions. I don't believe in transgenderism. There's two genders. Women should be expected to carry to full term in almost every single circumstance. And on top of that, when it comes to the COVID stuff, I didn't get vaccinated. I didn't wear a mask, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I could just keep going on, but I think we're very far apart on things that matter a lot. But America first, if we at least can agree on that, if we can at least agree to things like there should be no homeless veterans, if we can agree to the fact that the cost of living needs to be fixed, if we can agree to the fact that the young generations need to be prioritized more than the boomers do, which is what we're seeing right now, just boomer greed on display constantly. If we can agree to stuff like that, then at least there is some common ground. But sorry, man, not worth uniting over, not when it comes to morality. Iran needs freedom. Yeah. I mean, it's funny to say it ironically, but I'm not for it at all. I'm for them getting freedom if it's bottom up. This was a Charlie Kirk quote, and I was never a big Charlie Kirk fan, but he wasn't for regime change. He said bottom up regime change works. Top down though doesn't. And this is going to be a waste if we do this. Waste of money. Exactly, bro. Keep pushing the truth, says Steve DeLeon. Thank you. Be sure to subscribe to the channel right now if you agree. Appreciate it. Drop a like on the stream too. Freedom for Iran. No, thank you. I mean, not from us. Not our responsibility. Like I said earlier, where's NATO? Where's NATO? Iran's more of a threat to NATO than they are to us. Some of these Middle East countries don't even have fighter jets, and we're oceans apart from these people. And the real threat nowadays is China, especially economically. But we need to be focusing on the Pacific side of the world now and our own Western Hemisphere, not the Middle East. Those days are behind us. And some of those days were a straight-up facade, like Iraq. Hey, can you put on your seatbelt? Better safe than sorry. No, I am a MAGA redneck. I do not wear seatbelts. I don't believe in them. Mad because the immigrants do more than you. I am mad that they do more than me. They've apparently learned how to defraud our government. For 67 IQ Somalians, they sure know how to steal a lot of money and send it back to their country. Like, bravo to them. That's like well played. Well played. They don't contribute shit to us by any means, but hey, they came here. We knew they were pirates. They came here. We let them in, and what did they do? They pirated. They stole. Kennedy would have been the irony of wanting to claim to be a nationalist while quoting Kennedy. Kennedy would have been a Republican nowadays. And just because I quote someone doesn't mean that I agree with everything else. For instance, I can quote Stalin and I can tell you one death is a tragedy, a million deaths is a statistic. I like that quote. I believe in that quote. It's true. Doesn't mean that I agree with anything else that Stalin did, but there you have it. Name 3 amendments. The first one, the second one, and the fourth one. And how about you use the fifth one, Ryan? These nuts here to stay. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Don't ever chop those off. Don't listen to a liberal. The liberals want you to get rid of those. Keep your nuts. If you were born with them, they're yours. Mom, make me some pizza rolls. Green M&Ms, my favorite. That's my favorite color. Tampons, you can find those in Minnesota as well. Tim Waltz loves them. All right, that's gonna do it. I was far behind on the chat anyway. So Somalis are costing the USA $15 billion per year. Seriously, that's world hunger for a year. Yeah, they're scum. I'll end the stream by saying this. If and when we can get to a point where we shut down immigration in this country for 10 to 20 years, what we need to do, if we get to that point, when we decide, okay, we fixed our shit internally, let's reopen immigration, we need to discriminate against a lot of these countries. No more third world immigration. No more immigrants from Somalia. No more immigrants from Mexico. No more immigrants from, anywhere in sub-Saharan Africa, the Congo, Nigeria. No more immigrants from there. And by the way, I don't care what people say. India's third world as well. No more immigrants from India. They come here and they take all of our jobs. We have to listen to even our own president say that they're smarter than us. No more immigrants from these places. We should be taking immigrants that are respectable, immigrants that are willing to learn our language. Like I go to Walmart and I deal with some of the lowest IQ immigrants. They don't speak our language. They've probably been here for 20 years, 10 years. They don't speak our language. They can't help me at all. They're taking a job from an American. And it's disgusting. I am disgusted by that. And so we need to start discriminating from where we take these people from. That's really what the bottom line is. But I'll leave you guys off with that. This Iran stuff, it's kind of a tragedy. I hope it doesn't get too bad. That was the whole point of this. We need age limits on our politicians. No more politicians over the age of 62, 65, somewhere in there. Iran, Middle East fatigue, to summarize, Middle East fatigue. The government shutdown. Trump should have never capitulated with the Democrats. It's weak, it was unnecessary, and Trump needs to crack the hammer down, not lift it up and ease it up and cool tensions. We're in a position of power right now, and Republicans are failing to wield that power overall. It's disheartening to see, and it enrages young conservative men, which ultimately will lead to a much different future here in America when those young men now who are enraged finally take power. And when that happens, I'm almost looking forward to those kind of days. I'm looking forward to when boomers are out of politics. They've hit the deceased line, and this country can finally be ran by people with some fucking balls. But until that day comes, I'll continuously be going live here on this channel to discuss all of the latest news from an America First Christian nationalist perspective. If you enjoyed this content, be sure to like the stream, subscribe right now to American Advocates, turn on post notifications so you're always notified when I go live, post a video, make a community post. And I'll say this too. If you left the chat down there that I didn't read and you were so disappointed that you're going to complain to both your mommies later about how the mean streamer on American Advocates wouldn't read my chats and kept ignoring me, then you can leave it in a comment when this stream gets published as a video on my channel. And if the comment's actually worth me replying to it, I'll reply to it. But I do not cast my pearls to swine, and most of you are swine in this chat, especially if you're liberal. So just know that as well. The stakes are high, okay? The standard is high on this channel. You actually have to be fucking smart to get a reply from me. But until next time, I'll be going live at some point tomorrow, probably later on, so stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching. Glory to America, and God bless the USA. God bless you as well.